Your brain has one job it never clocks out of: guessing what happens next. Every second, it takes what you already know and runs a fast forecast of what's coming. It's why you flinch before the glass hits the floor and grab the door handle without even having to look. This is one of the most useful things that you do, and you never really notice that you're doing it. Prediction is how you prepare. It gets you ready for the next moment before it arrives. So the machine loves a clear road ahead. Given enough information, it hands you a forecast, you prepare, and you feel settled. But some of the road is always covered in fog, and when the machine looks into the fog and can't forecast what's in there, something uncomfortable happens. It feels like life happens to you, and then you react to it. Something lands, you respond, but that's not really the order. Your brain is running ahead of the moment, guessing what's about to happen before it does. So most of what you feel isn't a response to the thing in front of you. It's a response to your brain's prediction of it. You live inside the forecast more than the world. Which is exactly why fog is so hard on you. If you mostly live inside the forecast, then a forecast your brain can't finish doesn't just leave a gap out there. It leaves a gap in the ground that you're standing on. Your brain will not leave that space blank. When it can't predict what's coming, it starts filling the blank in on its own. And a lot of the time, it doesn't fill it in with pleasant guesses. It leans more towards threats, rejection, failure, illness, getting something badly wrong. How hard it leans that way depends on the person, but the pull toward the bad guess is there in all of us. Not because the worst thing is the most likely thing. Your brain does this because a possible danger is worth more of its attention than a possible nothing. That tilt is baked in. For most of human history, a wrong guess in the scary direction costs you a jump in a racing heart. A wrong guess in the calm direction could cost you everything. Your brain still runs on those stakes, so it treats a false alarm as cheap and a missed threat as unforgivable. Which builds a trap right into the design. Your brain treats "can't rule it out" as if it means better prepare like it's coming. And this is where it goes wrong. Possibility is not probability. That something could happen tells you almost nothing about whether it will. And here's how strong this is. Researchers ran a study where people played a simple game, turning over rocks. Under some rocks was a snake, and a snake meant a small electric shock to the hand. And they tracked real stress the whole time. Cortisol in the saliva, sweat on the skin, pupils going wide. Actual physical stress, but measured. And the result was backwards from what you'd probably expect. The most stressful moment wasn't when people knew a shock was coming. It was when there was a 50-50 chance. Being certain you'd be shocked was calmer than a maybe. Knowing the bad thing was definitely coming settled the body down more than not knowing did. Read that again. So the thing that spiked their stress the most wasn't getting shocked. It was the not knowing whether it was coming. A guaranteed bad outcome hurt them less than an open-ended question. You already know this feeling. It's why people say, just tell me, even if it's bad. I need to know where I stand. Your nervous system will take a closed map to a bad place over no map at all. So sit with what that means for your own life. Some of what you feel, waiting on the result, the reply, the decision, isn't about the outcome at all. It's the open question itself doing it to you. Now everybody feels some version of this. This isn't a broken people problem, it's a human one. Think of it as a dial. On one end, you barely notice not knowing. On the other, not knowing feels like an emergency. And everyone somewhere on it, and where you sit, can move by the day. And what sets your dial is mostly your past. Your brain builds its forecast out of what's happened to you before. So if your history taught you the unknown usually bites, your brain fills the fog with teeth. But if it taught you that you tend to be okay, the fog reads as ordinary. Turned low, it sounds like this. I'd like to know, but I can wait. You gather what you can, make a call, and get on with your day. Turned high, it sounds completely different. I can't move until I know for sure. Can't rest, can't decide, can't relax until the question is closed. And the situation changes the setting too. Not knowing what you'll eat on vacation feels exciting. That blank is full of good surprises. Not knowing if the scan is clear feels unbearable. Same blank, but now it might be hiding something that costs you. So it helps to pull apart three things that usually get mashed together. First, the uncertainty itself, just not having the information yet. Second is the unease of not knowing, the normal tension that shows up when the road's in fog. Almost everybody feels this, and it's fine. Third, and this is the one that actually causes the suffering, the belief that the unease is unacceptable, that you have to get rid of the not knowing before you're allowed to be okay. Feeling uneasy about an unknown doesn't mean something's wrong with you. The trouble starts when your mind reads that unease as proof you have to close the gap before you can move on. Because the real difference between people isn't whether they like uncertainty. Nobody really loves it. It's how fast "I don't know" turns into "I'm not safe," and how much of your life you'll put on hold trying to close that gap. Which points right at the thing underneath all of it. You think you're anxious because you don't have enough certainty, but you're really anxious because you've come to require certainty. There's a world of difference between preferring certainty and mandating it. Everyone prefers it. Of course you'd like to know. That part's healthy. Requiring it is where it breaks. Now you won't let yourself act or rest or decide or feel okay until the future stops being blurry. And no amount of wanting makes the fog lift on schedule. And requiring certainty is the move that actually does the damage, because it can never be met. The future won't give you a guarantee, but your brain still has to put something in that blank, so it fills it with a guess. And because you demanded certainty, you don't treat that guess like a guess. You treat it like what's probably coming. So what do you do when the not knowing gets loud? You try to make it stop. And there are a handful of reliable ways people do that. You check the thing again, reread the message, research it into the ground, ask somebody to reassure you, replay the past for a cleaner explanation, rehearse every version of the conversation, or just avoid deciding at all. And every one of these works, that's the problem. For a second, the fog parts, the answer arrives, and you feel the relief. But watch what your brain learns in that second of relief. It learns that not knowing was dangerous, and doing something about it saved us. Good. Do that same thing next time. So the thing you do to feel better is the exact thing training you to feel worse. Every time you kill the uncertainty, you turn the dial up, and you need a bigger dose of certainty the next time. And the search never actually ends, because you stopped looking for information a while ago. You're looking for a feeling, the feeling of being sure. Information has an endpoint. You can gather the facts and be done. The feeling of certainty has no endpoint, because there's always one more what if. It's why reassurance never quite holds. Reassurance can answer a question, but it can't satisfy a rule that says doubt must never exist. The doctor says you're fine, and your mind goes, but how can they be completely sure? A lot of this hides inside worry, and worry is sneaky because it feels responsible. Like you're being careful, like if you stop turning it over, you might get caught off guard. But most worry isn't preparing for anything. It's running threat simulations on a loop to create the feeling of being prepared without ever landing on a decision. So give worry a simple test. Is there a decision or an action available to me right now? If yes, go make it. If no, more thinking is not going to turn the fog into a map. And this habit charges you more than a few stressful afternoons. Over time, it shrinks your life. The more certainty you require before you'll live, the more of your life you're locked out of. Because the things that matter most never come with a guarantee. You can't know for sure that the relationship will last, that your health will hold, that the risk will pay off, that you chose right, that the people you love will stay, that the thing you built will matter. Certainty is mostly available for the small stuff, and the stuff that's already over. Everything alive and worth having sits on the far side of the unknown. So a life with every unknown removed wouldn't be a safe life. It'd be an empty one. No risk, no surprise, no awe, no first anything. You'd have protected yourself right out of your own life. But you don't have to choose between white-knuckle worry and pretending nothing bad can happen. There's a third option, and it starts with something your brain skips right past. When your brain predicts something scary, it actually is making two predictions, not one. The first is, something bad might happen. And the second one is, and I wouldn't be able to handle it. And look what you do with those two. You spend all day examining the first. Is it likely? How bad? What are the odds? And you leave the second one completely unchecked. But the second one is where the fear actually lives. It's rarely the event that terrifies you. It's the belief that if the event came, you'd be helpless in front of it. So ask it directly, the question you keep skipping. Even if this went the way I fear, what would I actually do next? And you'll almost always find an answer. You'd ask for help. You'd get more information. You'd adjust the plan. You'd grieve, and then you'd keep going. You'd handle it the way you've handled every hard thing that already happened to you. And the answer is what you were missing the whole time. You stop trying to be certain about the world, which you can't control, and start building confidence in yourself, which you can. You can't make the future certain, but you can become someone who trusts they'll respond to whatever it brings. And that trust is the exact job you are begging certainty to do. So here's how you build on that. None of them are about making the uncertainty disappear. They're about being able to stand in it. First, name the demand you're actually making. Finish this sentence honestly. I can't move forward until I know blank. That nobody will judge me, that I won't regret it, that it'll work out, that the symptom is nothing. Then ask one question. Is that actually knowable? Because a lot of the time you're not stuck because you're weak. You're stuck because you've been demanding a guarantee that life was never going to hand you. Just seeing that can loosen it. Second, separate a problem from a possibility. Ask, is this happening right now, or is this something my mind says might happen? If it's happening now, there's a real action. Go do it. If it might happen, name it for what it is. A possibility my brain is generating, not an emergency I have to solve this second. Instead of, what if the relationship ends, which is a fogged out future, try, is there a conversation or a choice available to me today? That's something you can actually pick up. Third, add coping to the forecast. Whenever your brain hands you a fear, finish the sentence it left hanging. And if that happened, I would. Your anxiety only ever writes the first half. Something goes wrong. Then it leaves you hanging there, in the worst second, forever. You finish the sentence and the free fall stops. Fourth, and this is the one that actually helps rewire everything. Deliberately leave things unresolved. Start where it's easy. Pick the restaurant without reading every review. Send the low-stakes email after one read instead of 10. Let someone else choose the route. Make a small reversible decision with half the information. And with the bigger habits, the checking, the reassurance, the reread, don't quit cold. Just put a gap in. Wait 10 minutes before you check. Ask once instead of 3 times. Leave the search unopened for an hour. And here's the part that matters most. You're not trying to feel calm while you wait. Feeling calm isn't the goal. The goal is that the uncertainty showed up, you didn't rush to shut it down, and your life kept working anyway. That's the thing you're actually teaching yourself. Not that the choice will work out. Just this. I can act without being sure. Do that with the small stuff, and it starts to hold when the stakes are real. So the next time you're stuck at the edge of something you can't know yet, here's what changes. You're not going to think your way into a life with no unknowns. Love stays uncertain. Health stays uncertain. Other people stay uncertain. Every choice you make closes one future and opens another you can't fully see yet. The goal is never to convince yourself nothing bad will happen. What you're after is smaller and truer. To stop treating not knowing as proof that something bad is happening right now. So get the information that's actually available. Take the action that's actually yours. And then let the unanswered part stay unanswered. You will never get the fog to lift on command, but you can stop waiting at its edge for a clearing that isn't coming, and start walking the road you can actually see. The unknown was never the thing standing between you and your life. The waiting was.